Welcome back to this course on WHMIS. This is Part 2, Classification. The HPA deals with three types of hazardous products. First, there are the prohibited products, which cannot be advertised, sold, or imported. Then there are restricted products, which must meet consumer chemicals and containers regulations. Finally, there are the controlled or hazardous products. These are regulated by WHMIS legislation. WHMIS 2015 has two major hazard groups: physical hazards and health hazards. Each hazard group includes hazard classes that address specific hazardous properties. Hazard groups are then further divided into 20 physical and 12 health hazard classes. These charts show all hazard classes from each hazard group. Hazard classes may be further divided into one or more hazard categories, ranging from 1 through 4. Category 1 is the highest level, meaning most dangerous. Hazard classes may also be divided into one or more hazard types, instead of category. Type A is the greatest level of hazard. Sometimes categories are also divided into subcategories, depending on the class. 1A is the greatest level of hazard. 1C is less hazardous than 1A. 2 is less hazardous than 1C. The hazard class and category are a guide to the type of hazard, degree of hazard, and what precautions to follow. Some products present more than one hazard and therefore belong to more than one hazard class. Exempted from supplier aspects of WHMIS are consumer-restricted products, cosmetics, drugs, food or devices, pesticides, herbicides, insecticides, and radioactive materials. Like previous WHMIS legislation, the update excludes some types of products from labeling and SDS requirements because these products are regulated by other laws. These exclusions are mentioned because there may be some of these products in your workplace. You will receive training about how to work safely with them as part of the university's comprehensive health and safety program. Exempted from all aspects of WHMIS are wood and wood products, manufactured articles, tobacco or tobacco products, in-house generated hazardous wastes, and hazardous materials transported under the Transportation of Dangerous Goods Act. Most hazard classes have a pictogram assigned to them. A few hazard classes have more than one pictogram, that is, one pictogram is used for certain categories, and a different pictogram is used for other categories. Some hazard classes and some categories within a hazard class do not have a pictogram, for example, combustible dusts, simple asphyxiates, and Category 4 flammable liquids. For the physical and health hazards not otherwise classified hazard classes, the supplier must use a WHMIS 2015 pictogram appropriate for the hazard. WHMIS 2015 does not incorporate the WHS explosives and environmental hazard classes, however, suppliers can choose to include these hazard classes if they wish. The exploding bomb pictogram represents explosive substances. These include unstable explosives, self-reactive substances and mixtures, and organic peroxides. The flame pictogram represents flammables. These include materials that are flammable, such as solids, liquids, gases, or aerosols. Also included are substances that are self-reactive, self-heating, pyrophoric, or emit flammable gases when in contact with water, as well as organic peroxides. The skull and crossbones pictogram represents severe acute toxicity. This includes substances that are toxic if contact with the body is made orally, dermally, or through inhalation. The flaming O pictogram represents oxidizers, which include any oxidizing solids, liquids, or gases. The gas cylinder pictogram represents gases under pressure. These include any gases that are compressed, liquefied, refrigerated or non-refrigerated, or dissolved. The corroding hand and metal pictogram represents corrosive substances. These materials can cause skin corrosion, severe eye damage, or corrosive damage to metals. The exclamation mark pictogram represents other toxic effects. This includes materials that can cause acute toxicity, skin or eye irritation, skin sensitization, specific target organ toxicity, respiratory tract irritation, or narcotic effects. This pictogram represents chronic health hazards. It includes materials that can cause respiratory sensitization, germ cell mutagenicity, carcinogenicity, reproductive toxicity, specific target organ toxicity from either singular or repeat exposures, and can be an aspiration hazard. The tree and fish pictogram represents hazards to the environment, which include materials that are acute and chronic hazards to the aquatic environment, or hazardous to the ozone layer. The biohazard symbol represents biohazardous and infectious materials, which include organisms or toxins that can cause diseases in people or animals.